Yo, yo, yo. What is up? Oh, let's see here. A little bit out of sorts here. Hi. Welcome to another episode of WIP Wednesday Live. Tonight is episode 42. This is a weekly live stream where I customize, talk to friends within the community, and hey, Sean's here. That's pretty dope. And get to chat with everyone in the chat here. It's lots of fun. And yeah, I'm a little bit late tonight. I apologize. I really don't have a good excuse. I was sitting on the bed with Homer and looking at Instagram Reels. So yeah, just kind of lost track of time. I was like, oh, fuck me, I gotta go. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be made aware anytime we go live here on the channel. It costs you nothing, but it really helps us out. So please do us a solid and hit that like for us, please. Last week was great. We had a lot of new faces in here. And it was great, man. It was fun. I had the guys from the Figure Booth podcast on, Prime to the First and Figure Fan Nate. Awesome guys. Really just love chatting with those guys. They're just such down-to-earth dudes. And I mean, if you didn't get it from last week, I'm a huge fan of their podcast. If you aren't following the Figure Booth, I highly recommend it. I even came more prepared. Voila! There you go. You guys aren't. They definitely they bring a different take to the weekly live streams. I mean, aside from doing interviews, they're constantly having great discussions about the hobby, about collecting, about keeping your collecting in check. They're awesome. And, I said that a lot last week, but I meant every word of it. I'm a huge fan of what they do. And I really appreciate that they took the time to sit with me last week and shoot the shit. So fucking A, man. Good on them. If you didn't watch it, please go and check the replay. It was a really great episode. I think it's the highest viewed episode I've had so far, actually, for live stream. So check it out. Also, while I'm in pimping mode, for anybody who has followed for a while, my buddy Ryan and I do a podcast every Saturday called Moose Milk Media. We talk about the latest and greatest or whatever shows are happening at the moment. Right now, we are covering The Last of Us. He is a hardcore Last of Us fan. He's a gamer. He loves the games. I know nothing about it. And we talked about episode 1 last week. It was pretty fun. I really liked the episode. Excited to watch episode 2. I haven't had a chance this week. I've been extremely busy this week. So I'm going to get to that hopefully Friday night, I hope. Same with Bad Batch. I still haven't caught up on Bad Batch this week yet, so that'll probably be a Friday night thing too. But yeah, if you aren't, please go show us some love on YouTube at Moose Milk Media. We go live 10 p.m. PST every Saturday, and we will be doing that again this week. So please help us out. Spread that love. You know what I'm saying? This week, I am going to be working on this Age of Apocalypse Banshee that I've been slowly working on. I ended up shaving his hair. I was too worried it was going to look too much like Hugh Jackman, even though it still looks like Hugh Jackman because it's a Hugh Jackman head sculpt. But I figured if I at least did my own hair on him, then I would be able to get a little farther with this. So yeah, it wouldn't look so much like Hugh Jackman. So tonight I'm going to be working on this. I'm so unprepared. I actually don't even know what I'm doing with this tonight. The other one I'm working on is this AoA Dazzler. Her neck is all weird right now. Basically what happened, I can't remember if it happened on the live stream or if it happened when I was working on her. But basically what happened is her neck peg broke off. I feel like it happened on the live stream. So what I've since done is I made a new neck out of green stuff. I dremeled into the head, and I basically did it so that way I can get it doesn't move right now because I haven't dremeled it out yet. But basically, I've just created a new neck socket. So it's not going to be a hinged neck socket now. It's going to be a barbell, which gives me some nice range of motion. But yeah, right now it's not any good to me because it's still stuck in place. I need to heat that up, pull that peg out, and trim that down and clean it up a little bit. So, and needs a good sanding too, if I'm being honest. So yeah, so I'll be working on that. Also, once I flip this camera over here, I kind of show you guys a better look at Warbird. Last week I was talking with the guys and I didn't want to interrupt our time. We had very little time to spend together, so I didn't want to waste it showing off Warbird, but I figured I would do that tonight and show you guys. Also have a couple figures to open. Not sure that I'll actually get to them tonight, but if I have extra time. My stupid Loot Crates finally came in. These are the two figures that I wanted from Loot Crate. The Dark Turtle, this is one. The Dark Turtle was crate 4, and then Scrag was the bonus character for if you bought all 4 crates. I literally bought all 4 crates because I wanted Scrag. So these two finally came in. My Loot Crate was super fucking chintzy. There was nothing in it. It was these two and a Triceratron pin, and that's fucking it. So I'm not super happy about it. Loot Crate has since gotten back to me and said, we don't have any of the leftover stock for the stuff you're missing, so we can't really give you anything, but you can pick from another Loot Crate. I don't want your fucking Loot Crates, motherfucker. I just want what I ordered. So I'm going to try to go to Visa and see if I can get a partial refund or something. I said that I'm not asking for a full refund. The main things I wanted were the toys, but I'm sorry, it's bullshit. And I haven't actually gotten a full crate since any of these. So yeah. And then before I dive into anything else, I want to say hi to everyone in the chat. I see my buddy Sean's here. I haven't talked to him in a while. I hope he's still kicking around in the chat there. But hey, man, nice to see you in here. Next week, I won't have a show next week. Unfortunately, the way my schedule with work has kind of panned out, I'll be making donuts next Wednesday and Thursday night, so I unfortunately will not be able to do a live stream next week. I will pick it up the week following, and I will have a couple friends on actually. So February 1st, which is next Wednesday, there will not be a live stream. I will post it in my stories just to make sure all my regulars know. And then the week after, February 8th, I'm going to have my buddies Dee and Chris from the A&R team. They're going to be on here, and we're going to be doing some live customizing together. So I'm super excited to chat with them both. A few weeks back, I had Elvin on. Elvin works on Wednesdays, so he's not able to make it. That was just kind of an oddity night that he had free, so he was able to, but unfortunately on the 8th he won't be able to. So Chris and Dee will both be here, and we're going to be chatting it up, talking about toys and customizing. So I'm pretty excited to have them both. Just going to say hi to everyone in the chat. I just want to give a quick shout out to Jordan from Canada, who is not here tonight. He is under the weather. Send me a message to say sorry that he couldn't make it. Really appreciate that you do that, man, but never have to apologize for not making one of these things, especially when you're on East Coast time. Like, that's super late for you, so don't really blame you. But Marcus says, yo, what's up, Marcus Yee? How are you tonight, man? And then Sean's here too. What up? Marcus says it's valid to be with Homer. Yeah, he's a cute little dog. We took him for a walk tonight and he fucking loved it. He doesn't get walks very often, but Sean says one of the best games ever, Last of Us. The show is unreal. Yeah, no spoilers for episode 2. I still haven't watched it. I'm pretty excited to watch it. I'm even more excited about it because I don't have any idea of where this is all heading. You know, I've heard little bits here and there about what the storyline is about, but I have no real details as to how it all plays out and timeline of when the stuff I do know, the limited stuff I do know, does actually play out. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I really liked the first episode. I thought it was really fun. So Marcus says, ooh, makeshift ball joint. Nice. Yeah. It'll work. I've used it in the past. So yeah, it should work pretty good. Southtown Paint Apps. Hey man, what's up? It says, what up, my friend? Glad to be able to watch a show and support for a few minutes at least. I appreciate you popping in, even if it's just for a couple minutes. Sean says, I'm living. How you been? Yeah, I'm about there too, man. I've been super busy with work, with customs. I'll share a little bit with you guys as I get on here, but I want to switch over to that other camera view in a minute here. Marcus Yee says, donuts, please keep us in your memory as you make them doughy rings. I'll take some pictures. I'll post them on Instagram. That'll be my live stream. Yeah, next week is going to be fun. I'm excited. I get to finally do some development on the donut side. So we're going to be coming up with some new flavors. We're going to be making a shit ton of different options, tasting them, and making decisions on what we want to sell. So pretty exciting. I'm excited to get into it. It's been a minute since I've got my hands into some dough, so I'm pretty ready. I'm going to turn my custom cam on here. And we're going to go solo on that. And then turn my microphone this way so you guys can hear me a bit better. And open my drink real quick. Cheers. It's not a pop. It's just a bubbly, but you know. Okay, so before we get too far, here is that Warbird figure that I finished on the weekend. I'm really, really happy with how she turned out. She's, you know, to be honest, the pictures don't really do her justice. I really like this bluish black hue that I got. I'm hoping that when I shoot her in my photo booth that it'll be more noticeable, the black blue. It always makes me happy when I finish a commission for somebody and then they immediately sign up for another. It makes me feel pretty good about my work. So I'm super excited. Neil, I don't think he's here yet, but he said he was going to swing by. He has sent me his request for his next figure. So the next figure I'm going to be doing for him is her name is Genesis. So he has a thing for Horsemen of Apocalypse. So this is Genesis. She is apparently Apocalypse's wife. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with the character. But yeah, I like it. Oh, you know what I forgot to grab? An ice pack. I have to put an ice pack on my camera or else it'll shut off. I'm going to have to run and quickly grab that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. The hair is a little bit heavy, as I suspected. Thankfully, the neck joint is strong enough to kind of hold the poses, and it doesn't really affect it too much. And she even gets some nice tilt, which is good. The only point of articulation that's hindered is by this stupid shoulder pad. She really can only go up to there, which is unfortunate, but you know, unfortunately, as I had said to Neil once when he asked for this to be done, I said, look, man, there's going to be a lot of spots where I don't think I'm going to be able to get a lot of articulation. The design on this character is just too wild. And to be honest with you, out of all the spots I thought were going to be a problem, the only one that ultimately was a problem was that shoulder. So, oh, that's so nice. Hi, guys. How's it going? Hi, Harley. Hi, Riley. Hope you guys are doing well. Every time I see pictures of you, you look like little adults. It's weird. I'm used to seeing you as little kids. Marcus says, to have repeat customers must be nice. It is. So yeah, so this next one will be the third one I'm doing for Neil. So I'm pretty excited about it. I kind of told him the good thing is you get in, and once you get in and I like working with you, you could pretty much throw anything at me and I'll do it. So like he's figured it out. But yeah, I really like how this turned out, guys. It was a labor of love. Honestly, there was a few spots that were kind of a pain in my ass, but these are all bendable, which is really fun. But yeah, ultimately, very, very happy. I'm going to actually snap some pictures of her in the next couple days. So I'm pretty excited to get her off to Neil, hopefully early next week or on the weekend is my hope. So yeah, so that's Warbird. Woo! And then the other thing I've been working on is the one, that secret project that I can't share with anybody. I finished it. So basically, it's been a bit of a stressful week because this figure is for someone. I can't say who. They don't know they're getting it. It was commissioned by I guess I can kind of say this because it's not really giving anything away. It was commissioned by a director of a documentary who is going to basically be giving this figure to somebody, can't say who, and shooting a documentary about this person unboxing the figure. So that's all I can really say. I am hopeful that this person will showcase the figure next week sometime when they get it. If they showcase the figure, I will be able to show it off. If they do not, I will have to wait either until they do or until May when the documentary comes out. So I'm really hopeful that I don't have to wait till May, but there is a chance that I may have to wait until May. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Is there anything else? There probably is, but who knows? I should probably get to work, right? Yes, Marcus, a director. So I don't even want to say how this came to be because it might give off a little bit of a hint. So I'm gonna just shut my mouth because it's probably for the best if I just keep it to myself, and it'll be a fun thing to reveal once the opportunity comes that I'm able to. So tonight we're gonna work with some green stuff. So what I did with, I don't know if I did this I've lost track of all time. So basically what I was saying about that figure, that secret commission is I hand off the figure on Saturday. At the beginning of the week, I was super worried that I wasn't going to make the deadline. I've stayed up until almost 4 a.m. the last 2 nights and then still getting up at 8:30 to go to work. So I'm exhausted. But the last thing to do on the figure is to clear coat it, which I'm going to do tonight after the live stream, and then photograph it, which I will do Thursday, and then hand off on Saturday. So pretty excited about that. So yeah, so Banshee, what I have to work on tonight is I'm probably going to start with doing some hair. Same with Dazzler. Dazzler has like this weird look where she has this kind of like cloak that goes on her head. Let me see if I can show you guys a picture real quick. And then her hair comes out of the top. So it kind of looks like this. So as you can see, I've kind of started with just some fodder, and then I'm going to build on top of it. Right? But otherwise, she's a relatively simple custom. Some work on the chest, a little bit of work on the arms. I'm going to paint all the yellow details, and then go from there. And then this Jean Grey hair piece is going to sit on top. And then I'm going to sculpt some additional hair pieces kind of coming out of it. But it kind of does most of what I need it to do. So I don't really see a point in doing more, especially because I don't really enjoy sculpting hair. So yeah. And then Banshee has 2 head options. So I have this calm, chill head, and I have this screaming head. I'm not really sure why I go with 2 head options. It's not like I'm not going to display Banshee with his screaming head. So I'll probably start with the screaming head hair first. And if I like it better and I can't get it on the calm head, then whatever. But I just like to have options. You guys know how I roll. I always do stuff like that. So I've already filled in his peg joints or his peg holes. I was using black epoxy sculpt for that to kind of make it easier because I didn't really prep this figure. His base body is already black. So I was trying to not do any prep on this work to make it easier. I did do some on the torso where there's going to be yellow paint, but otherwise I've been trying to keep it super low key. And then as you saw with Warbird, I also have all of Banshee's whatever, tails, wings, whatever you call them, which are also, again, flexible, bendable wire running through some green stuff. And just so you guys know what I'm dealing with there, this is Banshee's Age of Apocalypse look. So you can see he's kind of got these spiky wing things that come off of his arm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them to size. These are still too thick. I haven't done anything with them. I'm going to do the same thing I did with Warbird, which is dye them black. So that way I don't have to worry about any paint rubbing, scratching off, or breaking off when they get flexed. If I just use paint, there's a chance that it will in time loosen up, come off of it, and start to peel off, which I don't want. But what I'll do is I'll basically shape them, cut them to size, and then I'm going to actually inset them into the arm. So I'll do one at the back of the tricep, one in the elbow, and one on the lower arm. Most of the art shows him with 4 strings on each arm. I'm going to just do 3. I'm super concerned about the space that 3 are going to take up in my display. So I just can't do 4. I can't justify the space that's going to be required. So I'm going to back off that. So that's the plan for tonight. And if I have an extra bit of epoxy, I may do a bit more work on this. So what basically happens with this is currently not sitting flat enough. I need to shave down some of his traps. And I also need to reshape these weird spiky things that come off of his shoulders. So they're the same. They're a little uneven right now. And then basically what happens is once this gets down to the ab crunch part, I will sculpt in the detail down to the crotch. The problem is the backside doesn't have, it's solid instead of being a V. But again, because it's the back and because I'm trying to make this simple, I'm probably going to just keep it solid right down. And then I'll just keep like the V on this one. So on the front. So yeah, that's the plan. So I got my green stuff ready. Where did I put it? There it is. Green stuff. I've got my rubbing alcohol ready. Got my mouse ready. What up, Nike Boy Jay? How you doing, man? And Marcus says, like Gambit's head sock meets a hoodie. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Good analogy for that. I see that we've got 6 people watching. If there's anybody else here, please drop a comment in the chat. It would be nice to see who's here. So please don't be shy. Say hello. Feel free to ask questions. This is a safe space. There's no judgment if you have any questions about anything. All right, let's get some gloves on so I can mix this shit up. Green stuff's a pain to mix. So for anybody who's looking for a trick for their green stuff, a lot of people find that this stuff just gets stuck to the little bags that they come in. I know I've said this on the show before, but I wrap it in parchment paper, which is like a baking paper. Nothing sticks to it, so it doesn't stick. You can get it right off clean. It doesn't leave residue. It's nice. Okay, so I got to think about how much stuff I have to do here. I have the hair. I have her hair. I have a little bit. I'd like to fill in the scarf bit around her neck a little bit more so it's not so blank in the middle. So I might do another thing of that there. So I have a little bit I can do here. So I don't need a ton of green stuff. I hate to waste it, but I also don't want to have to stop and mix more. So this looks like it's going to be too much. Let's see. That's probably more than I need, but that's okay. Marcus, what are you working on tonight? I saw Marcus in the chat on the Fallen Fetch channel earlier. He mentioned he was going to do some customizing tonight while he watched, which made me very happy. And Neil's got the hard-hitting questions. Neil says, safe space, ask anything. Okay. Would you rather have a nose for a penis or a penis for a nose? It's a good question. So I know Charlie's not here, but Aspiring Grown Up, aka Charlie Zimmel, who hasn't been here for a couple weeks, but he is the guy who is doing those 1/12 scale dildos for me, along with a bunch of other stuff. So for anybody who has been paying attention, I got that custom head sculpt done by Clayman Customs or Clayman Sculpts or whatever. And Charlie said to me, oh, could you send me that file? I said, yeah, man, sure. No problem. So I was like, just don't go putting any like dildos on my face, right? And he's like, I'm totally putting dildos on your face. So you might soon get a chance to see me with a penis for a nose. And some balls for a chin or something, Peter Griffin style. It's funny. All right, so I'm going to mix this stuff up. I got it mostly 50-50. I think it's a little more in favor of the green versus the blue, or the yellow versus the blue. Mix this up until it's nice and green, hence the name. And then we're going to start working on Banshee's hair. Looking for kind of like a windblown kind of look for the screaming head, and maybe a more calm looking one for his stoic face that's just kind of chilling. So, and then Dazzler, like I said, we'll work on her little scarf bit, and we'll also I'm gonna have to glue. I might start by trying to glue this in place to where I want it to be, and then I can start trying to blend the rest in. Marcus said, I was fixing the Super Michael Jackson figure and I'm just painting some casts I made for Wildcat. I used the Oyumaro similar to blue stuff and it worked great, but making casts is hard. Yeah, I agree. It's hard to get good, like if you're not using resin, it's hard to pick up all those details, especially in 1/6 scale or 1/12 scale. I mean, it's tricky. So I haven't had a lot of luck. One of that secret commission I'm working on, he has a baseball cap on, and I was trying to find a good fit. My buddy D gave me a John Cena baseball cap, which I was hoping was going to work, but the head sculpt that I got, once I got it, it was just a bit too small. So I ended up having to like figure it out on the fly, and it was very, very challenging. I tried to make a couple casts of some hats so I could like try to shrink them and, you know, pull them in more to like try to make it fit the head better. But yeah, it didn't really work. I ended up having to come up with something totally different. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. I almost bought a Lady J figure from G.I. Joe just so I could take the hat. But I was like, no, you have to stop buying figures for just one part. So Marcus says, getting the Oyumaru putty in the eye sockets is the biggest challenge right now. Is it just like not user friendly? Is it just like really tough to get into all the nooks and crannies? That's the thing I do like about blue stuff, is like you can usually get it into most of the it's not usually the mold that has the issue. It's usually what you're making the cast with from the mold that usually has a hard time picking up all those details. So oh, Sean says, I think I have that hat. Oh, thanks, man. It's too late now. I made it work. And like I said, that figure's going out the door in a day or two. So there's not much time to pivot. But thank you, though. I should have asked you. I always forget that you have a lot of G.I. Joe fodder, being a big G.I. Joe fan that you are. Okay. This is mixed well enough. We're going to let that go. We're going to clean off these gloves just a touch, just a little rubbing alcohol at my hands. Yeah, so needless to say, I'm pretty excited to wipe these projects clean. So this commission that I'm doing, it happened super fast. I did a Zoom call on Christmas Eve and have been like full force since. It has been a challenge because it usually takes me 6 to 8 weeks to do a custom, and I had to do this one in 4. But I mean, at least it wasn't a super difficult one. My time restraints were more relying on other people, which ended up not really being an issue, so it was good. Marcus says, yeah, it's just that it won't go into deeper areas. It can capture the detail of everything else just fine, just not the space between the eyes. Ah, that's too bad. That's frustrating. Frustrating when you're like right there, but you just can't get it. It's a bummer. Okay, we're going to start with Mr. Banshee here. And I don't want to leave it on the body because I don't want to get any green stuff or mess. I don't want to make a mess of this body any more than it already is. Because like I said, I haven't prepped a lot of the joints, so I don't want to have to worry about it getting messy. So in this state, like I always do, I have to move it to a different body. I don't really care if I get it on this one, but let's see if I can find a different one that's less important. This is that Peter Parker, one that I've been using a lot for this sort of thing. I'm going to need another one, so I'll just use this. I hate these Marvel Legends suit bodies. I have so many of them, so I'm just going to use this other one. And just, there's that. And then I need to get my glue out because we got to glue this hair to Dazzler. Get out of here. Stick tack. I put this blue stick tack in here to hold it in place so I could take a picture with her. Nice. So yeah, I think that something like that should work. And then I'll fill in that gap. Oh, I need to go get that ice pack or my camera's going to die. Okay, sorry. I need to go get that ice pack because I don't want my camera to die. It's not going to die yet, but give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, forgot that I left my ice pack at work. I don't like to use any loose ice, so I just use like these, you know, the jelly ones. And I just put it right on top of my camera. And let me just adjust really quick here. Sorry about this, guys. See, remember how I said I wasn't prepared tonight? This is me being unprepared. There we go. Oh, I love questions like these. Neil says, what figure have you used the most as a base? Or what figure have you used as a base the most? I think I'm on my 5th Shriek and 4th Black and Red Magneto. Yeah, I would say it's probably a tie, but I don't do as many female characters as I do males. I gotta tell you, I really hate using the female pinless joints. I find them very tricky to eliminate paint rub. But that being said, this is my 2nd Shriek that I've used. I would say probably Sunfire Body is probably the one I've used the most. I would say a extremely close second would be that Spider-Man UK body, which is the Black and Red Magneto. I would say those are probably the 2 that I've used more than anything. Yeah, if I had to guess, that would be my guess. All right, let's start by let's glue this head in place here. Marcus said, good news, though. I managed to use the Nico Hodge method to mod the shoulders on Vulcan Black Panther figure, and I casted some ears, which worked just fine. That's awesome. Yeah, the blue stuff and stuff like that is good for like ears and things like, you know, things when you just need like a little part. So yeah, this glue has become a fucking mess. Look at this. Ooh, maybe this isn't useful anymore. Blah, blee, blah, blue. Looks like that's not going to be. It's not even like sticky anymore. Oh, it is still sticky. Okay. Then I would like to use it because it's got a little bit of oomph in it. It's not going to just like go into the crevices. It's kind of more like a jelly at this point. Come on. All right. Yeah, that's good. That's the good shit right there. All right. I'm thinking I'm probably not going to get many more uses out of that, unfortunately. All right, so let's put this in place here. So again, I'm not super worried about it not looking right on the head because I'm going to add more to it. So I'm not that worried. Like you can see right now, the hair sits pretty far back on the forehead. And I'm not that worried about that, to be honest. It'll be fine. We're going to let that chill for a minute here. Just really, really set before I start toying with it too much. Make sure that that part lines up with her nose. Cool. And make sure that, yeah, it should be okay, I think. Maybe move it forward just a touch. I got to make sure that it also doesn't interfere with articulation, because you know how much I don't like when things don't have neck articulation. Morning Wolf, what's up, my friend? Says I've used Blink 5 times and Shikla 4 times. Oh, and Lady Deadpool 4 times for Generation X team. Good call. Yeah, you do a lot of female characters. I don't do a lot of female characters. I don't know if it's just that I don't know. I don't know why. I think it's just because I don't like the limited articulation. I think it's like my biggest problem with it, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. Let's get some tools to work with here. Where is this little guy? I like this one. I'm doing hair. Morning Wolf, you got to come back on and live stream and do hair with me one day, because it's not my forte. All right, let's do this. So with his hair, I'm going to start by giving him just kind of like a base. I usually do a base with epoxy sculpt, but because I have green stuff tonight, that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to just start by putting a layer of green stuff on his head, and then I'll sculpt some details into it, and then I'll do some smaller strands of hair and stuff in the front. So all right, there we go. There we go. Let's get this a bit closer. We need it. Neil says I'm trying to fix your female custom total. That's good. I like doing I like doing them sometimes. It depends what they are. The thing I like about your choices, Neil, is you pick interesting things and you seem to play to the stuff that I'm good at. I like doing armor. I feel like I'm good at doing armored characters, and that seems to be what you're usually looking for. You know, it's like even looking at the two I've done for you so far, Warbird and Rachel Gray, or Summers, or whatever she was at that time. You know, they're pretty. There's a ton of similarities in their looks and costumes. So yeah, this and to be honest, Genesis isn't really that different. I mean, she is, but she also has a lot of similarities. So it's cool. I like that. Hell yeah, I'm down, he says. Cool. We're gonna do it. I currently have guests scheduled up until March, the second week of March. Not every week, but I have stuff booked. But we'll fit you back in sometime in March. Anthony, we'll fucking get her done. You can come on. We can do some sculpting tutorials and try to get me more comfortable with hair. So you're gonna show me some stuff. It's gonna be great, because you do a great job, and you've come a long way on that, and like hair and that kind of stuff, and especially like your female figures, like their faces and stuff. I know we've talked about this offline, but you do a great job with them. They've come so far in such a short amount of time, for that matter. Okay, so right now I'm just trying to blend this all in to make it look like one piece. Nothing too crazy. I'm not too concerned at this point about how it's looking. I just want to get it all covered, and then I will go in and shape it and all that jazz. I think that's probably good enough. I don't want to cover too much of the front here because I'm going to put some like flyaways in the front. My camera should focus. I don't know why it doesn't focus. There we go. Let me make my brightness a bit better here. All right. And just for shits and giggles, let's do the same thing on the chill version of Banshee here too. Just put that coat down. In the bare minimum, I can do the base of the hair and then I can do the bangs tomorrow or another day. These guys are going to now move back into that priority position. I want to do Banshee and Dazzler together for multiple reasons. One, they will further fill out my AoA team that Storm leads, which Morning Wolf did for me, for anyone who doesn't remember. I'm trying, ever since getting Storm, I now want to kind of fill in her team, which is Quicksilver, which is done, Iceman, which we have an official figure for, Banshee, Dazzler, and Exodus, which he's not as easy to do. I do have some ideas for Exodus, but to be honest with you, I would rather do the regular version of Exodus instead of AoA, but we'll see. Well, he's on my list, but to be honest, there's others I want to do before him. I really want to do Mr. Sinister, but I'm kind of trying to stall because I'm waiting for us to get the right parts. I hate sculpting banded arms and legs, which are like with the stripes, and we don't really have anything that will work for like total legs and total arms. Like I have a pair of Mr. Sinister arms that I've been sitting on for a while to like for when the time comes that I get to Mr. Sinister, but I just don't want to sculpt the legs, and there's nothing that really matches that. So I'm putting him off because of that. He's going to be a tricky one. He's going to be a hard project even when I have the right parts, but I just don't want to sculpt the banded legs, really, is what it comes down to. So I've done that once and used like existing sculpt for the arms before, and it's just really noticeable. My sculpt's never as clean as the Hasbro stuff is, so ends up looking weird. Oh shit, Nick is in the house. Nick Dees, for anybody who's been following along, was a guest prior to was on a guest on WIP Wednesday a while back. Since then, he has started to get into customizing. We've been chatting a lot lately, trying to get his skill level up. I've been trying to kind of just give him some pointers and some directions on how I can help him and how he can help himself. And nice to see you, man. I never even thought to suggest that you just come and watch me do stuff. So Nick's been working pretty diligently as of late on some customs. And for his first couple customs, they're looking pretty good. So, not to say there isn't work to be done. There definitely is. But I think for somebody who just jumped into this with nothing, I'd say he's doing a pretty good job. So, welcome. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Okay, so Nick, this is epoxy. This is green stuff. I think you've been using epoxy sculpt, if I'm not mistaken. This is just another option if you ever want to. The nice thing about green stuff is it cures bendable. So like, you could never do that with epoxy sculpt. You would snap it. So it's just finding the right reason for using it. It's harder to use than epoxy sculpt, though. Like I find a lot of people like it. But yeah, I've been using more green stuff lately. To be honest, I started with epoxy sculpt and pretty much used it exclusively for 4 years. Then I found Procreate and played with that here and there. And then I found green stuff and I was like, oh, it's like Procreate, but user-friendly. It's still not user-friendly comparatively to epoxy sculpt, in my opinion, but it's all just getting used to it. And, like Morning Wolf's one who used to use a lot of epoxy sculpt, now he uses Procreate almost exclusively. That's like Pim Particles too is another one who like he pretty much exclusively uses Procreate, and it blows my mind because I'm like, don't you want to like punch yourself in the face when you're using that shit? Like, drives me fucking wild. I hate using Procreate. I avoid it at all costs. It's so not user friendly to me. I don't enjoy working with it. I think it's hard to work with. So come on, let's just get this. So yeah, so epoxy sculpt is where it's at for me, but I do use green stuff for specifics. Hair is one of those things. I usually use epoxy sculpt for bases of hair like this, and then I use green stuff for like the bangs and any little flyaway bits that I got. So, oh, nice. So Nick says currently working on some stuff myself. Almost done with this Punisher and working on a Ghost Rider. That's rad, man. Love it. Neil says you should post your very first few customs that you ever did. I'd be curious to see. So the very first custom I ever did technically was just a repaint. I didn't prep any of the joints. I swear you looked at it and paint rubbed off of it. It was bad. It was I bought on eBay a prototype of the Toy Biz Avalanche figure, and it was all cast in black plastic. And I painted it blue and silver and whatever, and it was really bad. It was really bad. But the first custom I like fully embraced, got into the whole like dremeling and prepping joints, was a Jim Lee Cyclops, actually. It was the first of 3 attempts, and it was really bad. I mean, it wasn't like the worst thing ever, but it was pretty bad. And it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, it screams rookie mistake, right? And I was actually talking to Nick about the other day, because he did his first custom was a Dakin, however you say it, Wolverine's son. And I was trying to explain to him that like one of the hardest things when you're starting is trying to figure out like what 1/12 scale is in relative to 1/1 scale, like life size, and trying to tell him like, you know, put it into perspective, like when you sculpt something like wristbands or something to that nature, think about how that scales on the figure to like a part on the face, and then try to translate that to like life size. So, you know, if you have a wristband on your wrist that's like this thick, put that up to something on the face and be like, okay, so what I'm basically saying is if the wristband is bigger than this nose, then I'm saying that the wristband on this guy's wrist is bigger or thicker than someone's nose. And you're just like, ooh, that seems like way too big. So it's a tricky thing to do, because it's a lot of like perspective, and it's a lot of trying to figure that out. Definitely not an easy thing to do, but yeah, it's one of those things that if you can conquer early, it tends to be an issue for a lot of newer customizers. Is it's just like you think, you know, it's hard. So like with my Cyclops, that's kind of where I was going with that first Cyclops, that Jim Lee Cyclops. I compared the bands on the legs that I had sculpted to like real life, and how thick they were and how, you know, wide they were on the legs. And it was like bonkers. It would have equated to being like, you know, 8 inches thick, and like it was just ridiculous, right? It was way too much. So yeah, that's one thing that is hard to get to, but yeah, I'm gonna do her headband right now. So I'm gonna close this top part off on her. It's sticking to my fingers. I'm gonna get some rubbing alcohol up in that. Here we go. Oh, still moving. Well, that's not a good sign. I want you to stay in place, you fucker. I might have to use different glue, because I'm feeling like that glue is not setting, because it's like gelatin. So it looks like I'm gonna have to break out the Gorilla Glue. Neil, if I can find pictures of my old figures, I will. Actually, I do have a picture of that Cyclops, but I don't actually have pictures on my phone of those really, really old customs. Those first ones I did. I think I have like starting at like number 10 or 11. I think. So I have like a side by side of all the different Cyclopses I've done. can't remember where I did Cyclops. Was he was before this. Let me find it. Here we go. So yeah, so these are my Cyclopses that I've done so far. Starting with, oh, come on, I'm trying to get it so that way I can cover that ring light a bit. So starting on this side here, that's the first Cyclops I ever did. Let's do this. So you can see it's a little bumpy, and you can tell there's still lots of spots where there's bad paint rub. Like lots. You can see right there. Oops. It's a nice glob of paint rub. But yeah, the thickness in the straps really just kind of sloppy, right? Same with the wrists. And then this is the second one, and I went too thin. And then this was the final one, which I really like. It's actually still on display at my work. I quite like it. I kind of softened the yellow so they weren't so golden. And he had a swappable mouthpiece that you could swap out to give him like an angry screaming face. Okay. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try not to pull that off because if there is any adhesion in that glue, I don't want to disrupt it. But it's obviously just not going to work the way I need it to. So I'm just going to load her up. And I might have to wait to do any work on her because I kind of need that to set before I can really do anything. Because if I don't, every time she moves, it's going to throw off the alignment. And it's also going to ruin any sculpt around the edges that are touching. So can't have that. So why don't we do this? Do I have, yes. I bought these really cheap off Amazon. Just some different size clamps. And they work really great for this sort of thing. When you need to hold something in position. Sometimes it's hard with the uneven surfaces, but oops, let's get rid of this piece on our forehead. That way I don't have to worry about it. I can always go back and add that in after. There we go. All right, so let's see if I can do this without making it shift. I might not be able to, but nice. There we go. And we're just going to let that chill for a couple of minutes here. Is that good? I wonder if I could just go out just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, that's good. All right. I'm just going to let that hang out there for a minute. We'll come back to it. Let's start shaping this hair. So what we're going to do is we'll do the base first, and then we'll do the little flyaways. So. Oh, I didn't. There's a bunch of people here I haven't seen stuff. Nick says, yeah, I've got the AVE stuff. If it's the same green stuff, I'm thinking I used to use that with Warhammer figures. Yep, it's probably not exactly the same, but yep, it kind of originated with Warhammer. Marcus, you said I might need to try out green stuff. I heard there's a specific solution that I have to use because water doesn't work when smoothing it out or keeping it off your tools. Yeah, that's correct. Water is useless with this stuff. You can use it all you want. It really doesn't. Your hands just stick still. So not recommended. See, it's like covered in water and my finger still sticks. So yeah, don't recommend using water. It literally does nothing. Rubbing alcohol. I haven't tried Vaseline, but I hear Vaseline works good too. But I haven't tried it. Rubbing alcohol works for me, and because I repaint my figures anyways, rubbing alcohol works, but yeah. Look at this guy. Figure fan Nate. Hey man, what's up? Says, hey Matt, custom looks like it's coming along nicely. Thanks, man. Just doing some hair on this Age of Apocalypse Banshee. So I got 2 different head sculpts for him. I have a screaming head for his when he's using his powers, and I have a neutral head. And this one I'm going to do some the screaming head, I'm going to do some flyaways with like his hair kind of blowing away in the front. The other one's going to have just more kind of neutral, chilled out hair. And then also working on Age of Apocalypse Dazzler as well. So I'm trying to fill out the rank. So the reason why I'm doing them together is because they share identical color schemes. And aside from that, they're both relatively simple customs. So I figured doing them together, I'll be able to further populate my Age of Apocalypse shelf by finishing them at the same time. And also, because their color schemes are identical, it means 1 less airbrushing session, essentially. So, yeah, I don't generally paint 2 figures at a time. I find it's way too much. It's very overwhelming for me. But in this instance, I'm going to do it because it makes sense. There we go. So right now I'm just trimming along the lines, like to kind of make like a hairline, basically. Nick says, already looking at that one, immediately tearing apart parts that could be better. That's a good way to do it, man. I think I kind of said to Nick what I've said on this channel so many times is, as a new customizer, the thing I always recommend is to hold yourself accountable to become better at what you do. So find the thing that pisses you off about the custom that you just finished and focus your energies into making that specific component better until you have it down. Then move on to the thing that bugs you the second most. Get that to the point where you're happy with it, and then move to the next thing, and so on and so on. You will find over time things will get better, things will get easier. You will also find over time that some of the things that you once put focus into that you since stopped, you may have to go back to and revisit. But yeah, it's just the nature of the hobby, I suppose. All right. I found out today that I get to go to Anaheim in June. There's a bakery food show happening, and I am going to try to stay an extra day or 2, and maybe see if I can meet up with some people in California if there's anyone in that area. I don't want to assume that everything is super close like Kevin does. But yeah, I'm going to try. So I think that's the plan. Neil says, anytime I'm sizing on parts is off, I just say it's been Pim particle to make myself feel better for fucking up. Hey man, whatever works for you. The thing is, if it doesn't bug you, then let it be, you know? But yeah, it's one of the things that constantly bugs me. And I think Morning Wolf said it right here. You're absolutely right. Scale and proportion really make a figure. Getting that right is super important. Yeah, because if you don't, it's kind of like a face, right? They always say that it's like, if you can nail, there's certain things about a face, whether you're painting or sculpting, the eyes, the lips, the eyebrows, like if one of those things are just slightly off, it literally can break the look. So it's kind of important to make sure that you're not, if something seems off, to fix it while it's fresh, because yeah, it's going to keep driving you crazy. That's another tip I'll tell everybody is like, if there's something that looks off to you, don't settle, because if it's catching your eye when it's not finished, it's going to be the only thing you see when it is finished. So don't take that shortcut. It's not worth it. Stop. Even if you have to redo it and you lose a day, it's worth losing a day over, because it's just, you'll never unsee it. And once you leave it, it's kind of there. So, don't do that. Don't do it. All right. I don't like how far this like sideburn goes down, but I do think that oh no, I didn't. Good. I have some existing sculpt on there, so I don't have to keep it that. I'm trying to just keep it even. Figure fan Nate says, great idea to do them at the same time. Makes sense with the paint matching. Yeah, exactly. Just why wouldn't we? So everything's identical. And I really like how this warbird came out with the metallic blue. I did metallic blue shading over a black base, and it really gave that like shiny black look that I've been looking for. So I'm going to do something similar with these guys. They're supposed to be black and gold, like black and like, you know, sunshine, golden yellow. So I think I'm going to do the yellow nice and bright and do the black with the blue shading to really make it pop. So Marcus said, I'm considering getting UV resin. If I were to mix it, it'll paint in the resin to color it. Would it still work? And would it be clear or just solid color? I don't have enough familiarity with the resins to know. Like, the thing is like it could actually stop it from curing. So I would say approach cautiously, but make a little bit and test it and see how it does for you. Because it's hard for me to say. Like, I don't work with it enough to really say. That being said, I know there's like pigments that you can buy to mix into your resins. That's the proper way to do it. And I don't think they're that expensive. My buddy Draven actually mixes the same resin coloring stuff into his sculpt. So when he works with green stuff, he actually mixes it into the green stuff to turn it black or turn it whatever color. I mean, some stuff, like, you know, obviously you can't go from green to like yellow or anything like that. You know, that's not really on the table, but yeah, so he was doing that a lot when he was making that Ninja Turtles figure for Secret Santa. You know, because there was spots where he was concerned about paint rub. So if it rubbed off in the joints, you know, you would just see the black underneath, which was really cool. So smart guy that Draven is. We need to go back and check out the rest of the Secret Santa reveals too. There's been quite a bit that's happened since the last time we did a highlight on it. So we're still not finished, unfortunately. We have one customizer who hasn't finished yet. And unfortunately, the person who made for that customizer is in the Philippines. So, and it's going to the US, which is usually like 6 to 7 weeks. So it's still going to be quite a while before we fully wrap up. But there's one custom that's not finished yet. And we're getting mixed messages on where he's at with it. So we've heard that he's almost there, but then we heard that he was almost there another week, and then we heard that he's almost there another week. And yeah, you know, this is usually what happens. There's always kind of one or two people that kind of drag their feet. You know, I get it. Life happens. But it is unfortunate that everything kind of gets held up because of it. You know, realistically, we're going to go into Summer Swap with Secret Santa being unfinished, which sucks. But hey, girl, you hungry? Moose Milk says, hey, girl, how you doing? What up, baby? How's it going? I pimped us earlier. Watch those subscriber numbers jump, man. It's happening. Marcus Yee said, that's what I did with the arm wraps on Wildcat. One of them looked off, so I redid it, and I'm more comfortable with it. Yeah, exactly. The thing is like half the battle is just when you're sculpting, you don't really know what you're wanting it to look like. So once you've done it once and made a mistake, you're pretty cognizant of it when you approach it on the second attempt, and you're more likely to see the results you want once you've done it. So, okay. This is my favorite tool when I'm sculpting hair, especially just stuff that's on the head. Dip it in some rubbing alcohol, and I just kind of drag it through. So I kind of start at the roots, and I just slowly start working my way. I don't do super long strands. I kind of start with smaller ones, and then, you know, as I move through it, I kind of have to trim some off and thin some stuff out, like even this spot right here. I can see it's going to be a fucker. Stay down, fucking asshole. Thanks, son. Hey, you're welcome, man. I'm excited to watch Last of Us. I still haven't. Ryan knows my situation. This week has been all about this commission. Like I said earlier, I've been up every night this week, late, really late. Way later than I mean, I'm normally a night owl, but for weekdays when I have to work in an office setting the next day, I am burning the candle at both ends. to get this thing done. So, and like I said, it's done. I just have to clear coat, which is tonight, and reassemble tomorrow and take some pictures tomorrow, and it's ready. It's nice that I have that extra day now. I was originally supposed to hand off on Friday, but now that I get to meet them on Saturday to hand off, it gives me an extra day if I run into any problems while I'm shooting pictures. Usually when I shoot pictures, it's kind of like it tells me how good of a job I did at all my prep. Because even though I constantly watch my joints when I'm prepping them and when I'm working on the figure, there's some things that just like you don't expect to happen, and you're shooting pictures and all of a sudden you start getting paint rub when you move it a certain way. You're like, oh, fuck. So yeah, I wanted to leave myself some room, and it was looking like I wasn't going to have that. So I'm glad that I now have it. So, oh yeah, I heard that. Moose Milk said, I'm at work. We got a blizzard today. I'm ready to move. Yeah, I talked to my mom tonight, and she's like, it's so snowy here. I've been shoveling the snow for like 3 days. I'm like, oh, damn, shit. That fucking sucks. Even though we get snow here that literally cripples us, I live in a condo, so shoveling snow is not a thing that I do. And yeah, there's a lot of things that I kind of told my wife, look, if you ever want to move into a house, you're going to have to mow the lawn, because I swore that off once I moved away from Windsor. I have no desire to mow a lawn. I have no desire to shovel snow. Fuck all that. That ain't happening. Morning Wolf, did you guys get snow today or this week? Figure fan Nate says Last of Us is so good. Are you caught up, Nate? Did you see this week's? I haven't seen this week's yet. I heard this week's Bad Batch was really good too, so I'm excited to see it, but I haven't watched it yet. Like I said, now that this commission's done, I'm gonna get caught up, because I have to, because we have to talk about it on Saturday. So Friday night's gonna be even though I should be jumping into a new project because I'm ready to move on from the existing ones I've been working on, between Warbird and my commission there, my secret one. I have to get caught up, so we gotta do that. Yes, it's a great episode. As long as you watch it by Saturday night, you're good. I'll watch it by Saturday, don't worry. I won't leave you hanging. Neil said, ending of Last of Us was badass. Just finished first season of Yellow Jackets 2. That was pretty good. Ryan said, Moose Milk says, Yellow Jackets is incredible. Can't wait for season 2. And he says, shoveling and cutting grass sucks. Just cement your lawn. So one of the things that happens here in Vancouver is there's a lot of people that put in that AstroTurf. Again, though, like there's not a lot of places that have lawns here, because there's tons and tons and tons of condos. It's like a big part of Vancouver, and you get into the suburbs and stuff, you see more more houses and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of especially right in Vancouver, the places that do have lawns, there's a lot of AstroTurf and that sort of thing. So. So you guys can see this is starting to come together a bit. Let me see if I can get it to focus here. There we go. So this is still pretty rough. Right now, I'm just getting the basic look down. Then I'm going to brush it with rubbing alcohol to really, really, really soften it. And then I go in and I do it all again. So that's kind of my process with hair. Is I don't like it to look too sharp. I like it to still have a level of softness in the sculpt. So I really lean on that brushing with rubbing alcohol to kind of soften everything out and make the edges a bit less hard. And so that's why with this sort of thing, it's like you kind of have to just find your flow and just roll with it. You can't, even if you fuck up, this is only first pass. So if I really fuck up and don't like how it looks, I'll start altering it on the second pass. And hopefully by the time I get to my third, and I usually do 3 passes on everything. So I'll do 1. I really wash it down with the rubbing alcohol. I let it dry, not entirely, but I let it air dry enough for 10 minutes. And then I'll go back and start doing round 2. And then yeah, kind of go from there. So And again, just with my tools, I'm constantly dipping it in that rubbing alcohol. If you're using Vaseline, I think that works as well. I haven't used it, but like I was saying earlier, I have a friend that's how he does it. So, and he works mostly with epoxy sculpt, but has recently got into working with some Procreate. So yeah, and we're just about there. So before I let this sit for too long, I'm going to rub it down with a brushing of rubbing alcohol. Did I put my brush away that I used for that? I did. Where did it go? Or did I? Is it somewhere up here? Where are you? Where are you? That's not what I want. Ah, here you are. I like these wider brushes. They're nice. They work. Fair Fan Nate says, yeah, I'm caught up. Also played the games. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, it's fun because doing the podcast with Ryan, he's like in love with the games, and I have no idea what any of it is. So it's kind of a fun dynamic where he kind of knows the outcome, and I have no clue what's coming. So it's been cool so far. I'm excited to see where it goes. So one of the things this does too, guys, is for anybody who's watching, is it kind of gets, I like to call it the crumbs. So when you're sculpting with stuff and you're kind of carving out these spots, you get these little balls of leftovers that kind of come off of your tool as you're dragging it through the sculpt, and they stick to your sculpt, and then usually you have to sand it or really use like a good brush, I use a toothbrush and just really scrub it once it's fully set. And when you brush it with this, it kind of pulls all those crumbs off too, so it'll leave you a smoother sculpt. But like I was saying, if for anybody who's gonna keep the existing color of a base, so for example, as I was working on Banshee and filling in his peg holes, I was very mindful to not use rubbing alcohol, because I ended up using it in a few spots, and you can kind of see how it kind of like even with Warbird, I think we were all making jokes in here about how it looked like she kind of got like a money shot in her face, because I was using it on her helmet to kind of smooth everything out, and it just turns like white, goes into all, it's almost like a white wash that goes into all the crevices. So it's kind of a fucking mess. But so rubbing alcohol will leave a residue. It's not textured, but it does look weird. So if the plan was to keep using the existing color like I'm doing on Banshee, I would try not to do that. But when I'm using it on the hair, I fully plan on repainting it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So Morning Wolf Custom says, oh yeah, I started earlier this afternoon. It's still coming down here in Toronto. That sucks. Hey, Morning Wolf, we should connect. Ryan and I, Moose Milk and I, are going to Fan Expo in August. I'm going to try to connect with a few of my Ontario friends while I'm up there. We should try to meet up. That'd be fucking so fun. It'd be dope to meet you. I'd really like to meet people this year. That's kind of my goal. So, I was saying to Ryan, we're going to go up for Fan Expo. And I was saying to him, like, I really want to connect with people. So hopefully you don't mind me spending a bit of time trying to meet up with some people within the community. Even if they're not going to Fan Expo, we're going to be in Toronto for a couple days, probably 3 or 4 days. So I'm going to try to meet up with some people. I've already mentioned the Bearded Builds. I wouldn't mind catching up with him. And like I said earlier, it'd be fun to meet up with Kevin, going around. So yeah, that's the hope. So we'll touch base a bit closer too. But yeah, just so you know, I'll be in your neck of the woods. It'd be awesome. That's great. Moose Milk says, yeah, my buddy Chris turfed his lawn. But then he said, okay, I gotta go to work. Just wanted to pop in and say hi. Stay sexy, King Koopa. Thanks, brother. Have a good night at work. Don't burn the place down, please. You still need money so we can go to Toronto. Okay? Thank you. Love you. Bye. That'd be great, dude. We'll connect. Nick says, come to Virginia. What's popping in Virginia, Nick? there's not a lot of places in the States that I have a huge desire to visit, if I'm being honest. Especially, it seems like with everything that's happening as of late, I just fuck, man. I worry about like my safety. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But you know, like I said earlier, I will be in Anaheim in June, beginning of June. I think it's like 3rd to the 7th or something like that. But I might try to get an extra day in there, or 2 or 3, if I can find enough people that will want to hang out with me during the weekdays. So, oh, there you go. Nick says I'll get you into a comedy show. All right, that'd be fun. That might be fun. That's the thing. I'd love to hang out with you, Nick. We had a good chat when you were on the live. We chat fucking literally every day now. It would be fun, man. I love that. Like I said, like I haven't gotten to meet a lot of people. Like I'm pretty fortunate that my local collector scene is pretty dope. Elvin from Astonishing, the whole Astonishing News and Reviews team is local to me. Sean, who was in here earlier, I don't know if he's still kicking around, but he's local to me. And, you know, I've been hanging out with Sean for as long as I've been collecting, pretty close. We gotta go way back. And Opticon Customs, he is from Prince George, British Columbia, which is far. It's not close. It's like 10 hours or 12 hours away. It's pretty far. But we've been chatting since, God, for a long time. And he got to come to Vancouver once to train for work. And when he was here, I was like, oh, we should hang out. So we got to hang out. I brought him to Nerd Night back in the day. Our local group, we started something. Actually, Sean and I and our buddy Brad Coffey, who's another fellow customizer, and our buddy Raymond Sun, who is a local collector, seller in the area. We all used to get together every Monday at Sean's house, and Brad and I and Sean would customize. Ray would just come and shoot the shit and hang out with us. And man, for like 2 years, we did it every Monday. I think we maybe missed like 2 or 3. And it was so fucking fun, man. Like, I just loved it. And then our group got really big. You know, we went from 4 people to like 10, and it just like, it was too difficult to keep it going. And to be honest, the dynamic really changed. It just wasn't the same. No judgment to anybody who joined in with us, but just when it was a smaller group of us, it was a lot easier to coordinate, you know? But yeah, it's awesome. But like getting to meet people from within the community, fuck, man. It's I know Nate and Prime from the Figure Booth had made comments about how they would like to be doing more of that this year, and that's definitely a goal for me as well. As you know, I always say I would honestly rather stay home and chat with my Instagram and Facebook Messenger friends, my nerd friends, than hang out with the majority of my real life friends. Like I would take that almost over a real life hangout with actual non-nerd friends, like, you know, 9 out of 10 times. So yeah, it's the times that I've gotten to do it with people who are not local to me, have, even though they've been few and far between, have been really, really fun. And yeah, I remember on the Toy Migos one night, they were talking about, they're like, man, imagine we tried to get like a cruise, going on a cruise and just having all these nerdy people on a cruise. Like, how fucking fun would that be? Like, imagine I could do like live customizing sessions every night. We could all meet in the grand ballroom and fucking bring our customizing shit and just fucking plug away. Like, how fun would that be? You know, it's a safe spot where everyone could drink and enjoy themselves and have a good time, not have to worry about getting to and from. We could customize, we could shoot the shit. Like, just think of all the memories we could all have with something like that. I know would maybe be expensive, but honestly, if that ever happened, I would definitely jump in, because that I've never even been on a cruise, but that to me sounds fucking really fun. See you, Nate. Thanks for swinging by, man. Thank you for your luck. Appreciate it. Hopefully it'll turn out good. I think it will, or it won't. and I'll redo it. But that's okay. Whatever works. But thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. If you guys aren't following Nate Prime, look at this. If you're still here, I did it right this week. There's another plug for the figure booth. Go check them out. YouTube and Instagram and on all podcast services. It'll be worth your time, I promise. A boat full of nerds. Oh boy. Yeah, man. Just think about it. You could have high school creations in Mario teaching people how to make dioramas at one table. And Morning Wolf's teaching people how to beautify their figures at another. I'm teaching everyone how to sculpt armor. That's funny. Neil says, are you into cheeseburgers, beer, and a strange cult activity? Wisconsin's a great visit then. That's great. If I ever go to Wisconsin, I will have to make sure I see my buddy Strand as well. He's in Wisconsin. And yeah, I'd love to meet up with Johnny too. That'd be lots of fun. Definitely on my radar. Okay, let's see if this is set yet. I'm hoping it is. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty good. Okay, so this is the part with the green stuff though, is it starts to set pretty quick. Marcus says, I'm down only if there's food. That's the thing, is like cruise, you'd have food, you'd have drinks, you'd have activities. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't leave the boat. I would just like sleep during the day, stay up all night, customize. That'd be fucking so fun. Oh my God. Maybe one day I'll try to plan it or something. I don't know. The thing is like, I'm not really in a place where come on, everybody come to Vancouver of all fucking place. I mean, Vancouver's amazing. Don't get me wrong. But like, why would you come to Canada to talk about it being expensive? Collector Express. Hey, everyone. Hey, my friend. How are you tonight? Thank you for stopping by. If you guys aren't following my friend Jared over at Collector Express on YouTube and Instagram, if you search Collector Express, he'll come up, but his Instagram handle is not that. It's 1987 olds something. It's his old name from the forums, the Foosh forums. But yeah, go show him some love. Great customizer. He is currently working on his Ultraverse lineup. He just finished his hard case figure and it turned out fucking amazing. And he's already finished his sludge figure, plus he's pretty known for his prime figures that he's done. I can imagine that if you aren't following him, you've probably at least seen his custom primes. I know it's been shared a lot. So, yeah, go show him some love. Very talented. And I know I've said this on the channel before, but a wealth of knowledge. Just a fountain of knowledge. The guy I've picked up so much from even just the times that he live streams on Thursdays and on Sundays. Unfortunately, he automatically loses to Toy Migos for me because that's where I spend my Thursday nights. But he also does live streams on Sundays, which I generally miss because I'm almost always at my in-laws at the time he's live. The odd once in a while I can pop by, but usually I miss it. So, but yeah, anytime I pretty much always learn something like every time. And when he was on my stream, I learned about microsol and microset, which I just used on my secret commission that I was working on this week. I actually just used it last night. So to set some water slides. There you go. If you want to follow Collector Express on IG, there it is. 1987 Olds 442. You won't regret it. He also does lots of cool, simpler customs and body swaps, things that are not necessarily for, that don't have to be super difficult. And yeah, he's got a lot of good ideas there too. So show him some love. Give him a follow. Marcus says, food and figs, get your mezcos all saucy. Collector Express, we're talking about the Toy Migos were talking about one time a while back about how cool it would be if they could get everyone together and to do like go on a cruise and like have a bunch of people from the toy community go on a cruise, and then it could be like everyone's just hanging out talking toys. There could be like customizing tutorials in the evenings and photography tutorials and all that shit. I was like, dude, if we ever did that, oh my god, that would be so fucking fun. And I talk about a good way to meet everybody too, right? It would be the best. Oh my god, it's so fucking fun. Maybe one day. All right. This is a little bit off, but right now I'm just trying to tuck in that green stuff under the hair. It doesn't matter that much because, to be honest, I'm going to just add bangs over this front part a little bit anyway. Like, not all of it, but a good chunk of it. So I'm not that concerned about if it's not like really, really, really tucked in, because most of it's going to be covered anyway. And whatever's not covered, I should be able to just paint over, because this headpiece is going to be black. It'll be under the hair. There'll be a shadow. You're not going to really be able to notice. So I'm not that worried about it. But just for the sake of doing it right, I'm trying to get it as close as I can. Let's see if I can try to get this to form around the hair a little bit more here. This is a new tool that I've been using a bit more as of late. These little ball tip, like dental sculpting tools. I like them. I like them for the ball part, but I also like them because the flat part here is really good for flattening things out as well. There we go. Like I said, I'm not super worried there because that's all going to get covered by more hair. Okay, let's just clean that up. All right. Very nice. Yeah, where do I sign up, right? Maybe one day. I hope that that's a possibility, because that would be fucking fun. You'd have to find something that's not super expensive, but it's also not a shithole. Like, you'd need to find something that would work, right? Something all-inclusive, probably, as well, would be kind of a necessity. Neil says my wife would kill me if I did a nerd cruise before I took her on a regular cruise. My wife has about zero desire to go on a cruise, so I think if I ever do one, I'm kind of on my own. But oh no, that's not good. Collector Express says I've been recovering from COVID and ended up getting walking pneumonia. Oh my god. That sucks. I had walking pneumonia once and it was shit. Oh my god. Like, couldn't breathe. Fucking sucked. That sucks, man. I hope you're feeling better soon. Says he's started his new bed, so now he's wide awake. Well, at least you don't have anywhere to go. If you're that sick, you're not working. So I hope you recover quickly. Marcus is also sending his love. His well wishes. Okay, so I probably won't be able to do too much more on Dazzler tonight. I was hoping to flatten some of this out. I might still be able to flatten this out. Let me take a little bit for the bangs, and then let me see if I can flatten this out. I have my usual tricks, which are my baby powder. And I use this to, when I'm really trying to thin out my green stuff. I'm actually going to keep this larger chunk for, what's it called? Larger chunk's going to be used for the hair, the extra hair. I'm going to thin this out and see if I can get it to flatten nicely so I can do that second layer on her like hood that kind of comes down here. Well, it's still kind of good here. So what I do is with the baby powder, it stops it from sticking, like entirely stops it from sticking. And then you can really, 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 really thin it out. And then when you want it to be adhesive again, you just brush it with some rubbing alcohol. It removes the excess baby powder and it becomes sticky again. But it does make it so that way you don't have to worry about getting fingerprints in it. It kind of just becomes smooth. This has got a bit too much thickness on this side. Let's try to fix that. Okay. And then we're going to just do a little cut. I think it's time to oil this chair. It's pretty crickety. For anybody who doesn't follow us on Moose Milk, I've been rewatching Always Sunny for the last couple, maybe the last month. I rewatched seasons 1 to 13. I finally finished season 13 the other night. And then I immediately moved on to The Simpsons, picking up where I left off last. Simpsons is kind of a big one because each season has so many episodes. But I've been rewatching The Simpsons. Actually, I started rewatching it because of toying around. He did a review on the Super 7 Poochie figure, and I was like, oh man, now I want to watch Simpsons. So yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of place this before I do anything too crazy here. So I'm basically just going to try to fill in the gap under the chin. And to do that, let's see my best approach here. I need to use some scissors. Oh, that's great. It says, talk about a wealth of knowledge. I've learned a lot from you as well. See, that's great. It's great that we have these avenues to be able to learn from each other. The thing is there's some people who just do certain things so fucking well. And there's other things where people like you were saying, right? With the microsol and the microset with the water slide decals, there are these chemicals you can use to basically help your decals soften so they stick better. I don't really like that. And they it softens the paper so it will adhere better and will go with the curvature of the sculpt that it's laying on. So yeah, it's really good. And because he'd worked with, I think he had mentioned that he learned it from I don't know if he said it was from customizing Hot Wheels or just from watching customizing Hot Wheels videos, but whatever it was from, it works really well. So I'm glad he learned that and then passed that knowledge on to me because it's very helpful. All right, so I'm going to get this to just kind of lay under here. All right. And then oops. This might not end up staying. I don't know if I like how that looks. I can try to blend it in. It's probably not going to blend in because A, it's been mixed now for quite a bit of time, and B, it's loaded with baby powder on the other side. I never rinsed that off, so. But we'll see. And I just don't even know if I like how it looks. The thing with green stuff is when you get it this thin, it starts to fold into the wrinkles of the sculpt. So it becomes, almost like a blanket. And you can see it takes on the folds from the sculpt underneath it. And again, because it's going to be painted black, it's not going to be super noticeable. Oh, what did I do there? watching Hot Wheel customizers, and without that, I wouldn't have ever been able to apply the arm hair water slides on my Prime. There you go. I bought some. I usually make my own water slides. I have a buddy who kind of taught me how to do it, and they're not as good as like some of those ones you'd buy on a web page. But I just recently bought some off of a web page. I bought some Owen Hart ones. I'm going to be making that Owen Hart WWE Ultimate figure. And I bought some decals because I really, really, really didn't want to paint the details on. And they look pretty good. I haven't put them on yet, but I mean, the decals themselves look pretty good. All right, I'm going to put this on, and if I don't like it, I'm going to just peel it off. It should come off relatively easily because, yeah, it's not really that well adhered on the backside. I didn't take away the baby powder. It's all still baby powder on the backside. I'm just trying to blend it into the existing sculpt. It might just be too far done. Like I might, because it's been mixed now for a bit, so. That. Take this little guy back again. Go. So yeah, so for anybody who wasn't here at the beginning, again, I'm just going to mention it another time. Next week there will not be a live stream. I have to make donuts next Wednesday night, so that's what I'll be doing. I'll be whipping it, but I'll be whipping it in another fashion. I'll be playing with some dough instead. So unfortunately, no stream next week, but we will be back on February 8th with my friends Dee and Chris from the A&R team. We're going to be doing some customizing together and talking about toys and all that good shit. If you aren't following my friends in the Astonishing News and Reviews team, go check Elvin D, Chris, Brad's there sometimes. Basically, it's just like all my local friends that do a YouTube channel together. And yeah, go show them some love. They deserve it. They work hard. And they put out good content too, so don't tell them I said that, though. Heaven forbid. All right, try to get some folds going on in here so it doesn't just look like a slab of fabric. There we go. Might have to sand that a bit, but it might work. We'll see how it looks. I don't mind if there's a little gap under the chin. I just don't want it to be as gappy as it currently is. So there we go. Okay, so I ruined the leftovers, so I have to flatten a bunch of this to make this again, to do it again, the other side. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing I'll do for the night is I'll do the flyaways in the front of Banshee's hair, at least Screaming Banshee. I might leave the calm-haired one. I don't know if I'll have enough to do it, but Collector Express is saying here, I made a sheet of eye decals that work pretty well, especially when I was painting those 20 Hulk heads. Yeah, that is a good idea. I've never tried eye decals with water slides, but I feel like it would work well, so it's pretty cool. I mean, you still have to get them centered, right, which I think is half the battle, but at least you get consistent circles and pupils and stuff like that, so pretty cool. Good idea. Neil says, I'll take a custom donut cast. If it was just me working by myself, I would absolutely do that, but I will have my 3 employees with me. So yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't care, but yeah, gotta just make sure we're behaving because I am on the clock. You know what I'm saying? You guys just watch me bark orders. Just kidding, I don't do that. good boy. I'm a good boss. I'm right there with them, you know? I'm wrist deep in dough. All right, so I got that nice and thin again. We're going to get this out of our hair, no pun intended. Just for a minute here. Take a little swig. We're going to trim off some edges here. Get a nice flat end on each side. Okay. One like that. One like that. That. I'm grateful it's not raining outside, so I can go for a walk tonight, which is great. Okay. I'm going to just give a little quick brush here and try to get this one side a little sticky, so that way it at least sticks better than the other side. Okay. There we are. And like I said, guys, if this ends up not looking good, I'm just going to take it off. Like, that's the nice thing about green stuff. It comes off real easy. So donut stream would make everyone hungry, especially with the stuff we've got planned. We've got some good plans. Yeah, I'm super excited to get in there and do. It's like the place I'm happiest when I'm doing my my real job. I fucking love making donuts. It's so fun, which is weird because it's actually not like, I'm not a baker by trade. You know, a lot of people here in Vancouver, like, baking is a pretty big trade here in Vancouver. You know, we have a lot of really cool, like, artisan style bakeries that, you know, are all like handcrafted products. It's expensive, but it ultimately is fine because it's fucking delicious and it's like a treat. It's not something you're eating every day, but you know. So, you know, even donut shops and stuff, right? Like, we don't have Dunkin' here in Canada, surprisingly. But, you know, we have lots of good donut options here. Lots of cool little unique spots. A donut live stream would be really fun, though, I think. If I could ever make it happen, I will. If I ever get to the point where I'm working graveyards or something, I'll record something or working alone. It does happen from time to time, not too often. Like, my job's not really meant to be in the stores. I'm an office employee, but right now I'm the only one that knows how to do donuts. I have one employee of my 3 that is capable, but not super confident and comfortable in it yet. So, but she does a good enough job. I mean, she does a good job. I shouldn't say she does a good enough job. She does a great job, especially given the lack of training she's gotten. She does a good job. So, but yeah, I'm excited because I get to work with them and teach them. We, you know, the grocery chain I work for, they're seeing the value in what we do with the donuts, and they're coming around to it more and wanting. It's just like a big investment for our company. Like, you know, the startup for donuts is like, I think it's like $40,000 or something like that, $50,000. But like, your return on investment is there. Like, it happens quick. You could pretty much pay it off and just be making money off of it within a year and a half. Sometimes even less. So, like, we have one store that just like fucking crushes it. I think like in 4 months they did like 190 grand. It's wild, but that's not the case everywhere. It's just, you know, here and there. And that obviously doesn't pay for like rent and stuff too. It's just the cost of equipment, right? So, I don't really like that. I have to make a note to fucking fix this chair. It is very noisy. Marcus says, when I was younger, my ma used to wake me up by saying it's time to make the donuts, but we never had any donuts in the morning. I had a rough childhood. That sucks, dude. My mom never made me donuts, unfortunately. My love for donuts more came when I shouldn't say, I used to get super baked with my buddies. For anyone who is in Canada or in the northern U.S. states, like the Midwest, like Ohio, Michigan, you probably are familiar with Tim Hortons. It is a Canadian coffee and donut chain. And when my buddies and I used to hang out at night, we all went and got a coffee and a bunch of donuts, and we got super baked. I remember one night we ate. There was three of us, and we ate 15 donuts. It was disgusting. We felt like shit the next day, but it was a good time. It was all worth it in the end. But yeah, I'd say my real love for donuts started when I moved out here, because honestly, the donut options out here are fucking crazy. There's so many good ones. I don't really like that. What's going on right there? I'm gonna have to cut that out because I'm not feeling it. Not feeling it. Something tells me I'm going to end up getting rid of this because I'm not loving it. Might have to take the slower approach, which is rolling it out really thin, and then just draping it and let it naturally form folds. But we'll see. Maybe this will be fine. What I'll do is once I'm done sculpting it and it dries, I'll throw a layer of paint on it and see how it looks. It's so hard to gauge when it's green because the color throws everything off. I don't know, it might be okay. I wish I could put it on this neck, but it's not gonna work. So because I have to adjust the head size to fit that ball because it's not its original neck peg. Marcus says, I wish I could eat that many donuts. I'm at the point now where I can't. When we develop, I know I've said this to this group before, but when we developed the donut program that we currently do, I worked with a chef. And for anybody who either is a chef or has ever worked with a chef or lived with a chef before, they're notorious for doing super mild, almost minuscule changes that make little to no difference to the general taste bud. And then they're like, okay, let's try this. This one has 2 grams less this one has, added a little bit of lemon or whatever. And it's you get to the point where you've eaten, we literally spend 8 days eating donuts, the same donuts, just super minor variances in ingredients. And I was just man, you are ruining everything for me right now. But yeah, it's I love it. Here I am complaining, and I shouldn't complain because I do have a great job. Who complains about their job being that they have to eat donuts all day? That's literally it's I'm glamorizing it, but really that is what I do. I do some shitty stuff along with it, but the great stuff strongly outweighs the not great stuff. So all right, I'm gonna have to wait until this dries, and so I can put some color on it to see how I really feel about it. Oops. think that looks pretty good. Okay. It's a little lumpy on this side. This side looks a bit better. Unfortunately, the way this is working is if I peel this side off, it's going to pull that side off. But that's okay. If I have to redo it, I'll redo it. I just don't want to redo it. But I'll do it if I have to. So, yeah, maybe I can fix this lumpy side a bit before it sets. Ooh. There we go. This might end up working. Who is to say? We'll find out. Okay, we're going to call that good enough for now. You can see the lumps down here that I'm not really feeling. I think some of that I'll be able to sand off just by smoothing out and more defining this line again. It's the stuff on the side here that I'm just not happy with. And it's like, it's too hard at this point to blend any nicer. It's just not really moving the way I need it to. But that's okay. We're going to just let it ride. And like I said, if we're not happy, we'll redo it. Soften those up a bit. I feel like I could just get it a little bit better. That's why I keep going back to it. I feel like there's just a couple spots where it's like, it's going to take me way more work to try to sand it out than it will to try to just fix it. That might work. All right, and then what's left will be the flyaway hairs in the front, and I'll probably do a couple out on the side here as well to cover up more of this hood. So, okay, that's going to be good enough for her for now. Let's get back to Banshee. Let's try to do some of his kind of more dynamic hairs on the front. So we're going to work mostly with this. I'm going to go back and do a little bit more drag through with this sculpting tool before I start adding stuff to the front. And again, this just gives it another layer of depth. I am happy with how it currently looks, but yeah, I like to just give it a bit more depth if I can. I don't want it to look like someone just put clay on his head and just mushed it into place. And then once I'm done these two, I should be able to make pretty quick work of these guys because they're very minimal sculpting and they're also relatively simple paint jobs. Once I get through Age of Apocalypse Dazzler and Banshee, I am going to move on to my next custom, which is going to be Brainiac 5, Jesse Wrath. I've done this character once before. I actually have done it twice before, but this version in particular once before. I did it for Jesse as a commission. And again, I was kind of on a tight timeline. Unfortunately, by the time he needed it, I couldn't really put any more work into him. So I wasn't happy with him. I've always wanted to go back and fix it for Jesse, particularly because he brought me quite a bit of business there. I think I did 4 customs in total for him. And yeah, I wanted to do something to just say thank you. And I knew he would appreciate it. And yeah, so I'm going to be redoing Brainiac 5 from Supergirl with a head sculpt from Craniac Studios, or Cranium Kicker, whatever it's called, Craniac Studios. Isaac over there, who's I've worked on some projects with before. And I'm going to also do replacement heads for his last version of him. That I did the first version, the first costume. I'm going to redo the head on that using a new sculpt, and the human version I'm going to do that he can put on the last figure I made for him. So that way that last figure isn't totally useless. You can kind of have all the different versions of Brainy. Well, it's not all, but most. So yep, this is great. Oops, this is great advice. Collector Express says, as I say, don't ever be afraid to start over. No matter how long or short you've been customizing, don't worry about getting it perfect the first time. I mess up and start over projects all the time. I agree, man. Don't settle. If it bugs you now, I said this, I think, before you came on, but if it bugs you now, it's guaranteed to continue to bug you for the rest of the project. And in most cases, it will just continue to annoy you if you leave it. So if you're not happy, stop, remove it, and start it again. Like, if that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do. Collector Express says, I'm looking forward to seeing that Brainiac. Yeah, I am too. I think this body is going to work really well. I remember, like, the first time I made the Brainiac figure for Jesse, I met him at a coffee shop in Cole Harbor in Vancouver to give him the figure. And I don't know why it didn't hit me that first time, but when I met him the second time, my wife and I went and met him and his wife. We had a couple beers and just shot the shit. It was really fun. Really nice guy. And I remember seeing him in person and just being like, the base body that I use for your figure is just like, it does not match your actual size in any capacity. Like, he's just like, he's a pretty slim dude. I'm not gonna say he's petite because he's not, but he's very slim. And like, I used a Magneto movie buck and like sculpted over it, and he looks puffy, like he looks bloated. I don't like it. So once that White Vision went on sale for really cheap, I was like, man, that would make a great base body for the MCU White Vision from Disney Plus WandaVision. I was like, that would make a great Brainiac figure. It has the texture. It's got the right build. I don't want to say scrawny because scrawny sounds mean, but it's like, I kind of do want to say scrawny because it's like, he's just like, he's small, like. And then what I used just did not do it justice. Like, I hate it. I don't even like to repost it. I like to repost it because I got cool pictures with him and Nicole Maines and Shyla. I can't remember her name, the girl who played Danvers on Supergirl. I got pictures of all of them in their costumes, holding the figures. So it's like, that part I love because I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. But I just hate the Brainiac figure. I like the other two, but I hated that Brainy. So it sucks that I won't get to have a picture of the new one with him in costume because Supergirl's not a thing anymore. But oh well, it is what it is. I'm just happy that I can do it and give it to him as like a gift to just say, you're the best. Thank you for being cool. Thank you for giving me such cool opportunities. Thank you for bringing me new followers. Like, I got a lot of new followers when I was working on his figure. So So yeah, I like to be able to do something cool for him and just say, thanks, man. You fucking are great. I'm just going to move that Dazzler head out of the way because I'm worried I'm going to touch it and put my fingers in it and stuff. So all right, I'm going over the non-screaming head now one more time. And then we're going to do some bangs. It's over 2 hours, so bear with me. Athletic. There you go. That's a better word for it. Athletic. So yeah. The secret commission I'm working on that I keep alluding to is another piece for an actor. So it should be cool. I'm pretty excited to... I honestly am just excited for him to get it. So, and like I said, it should be next week. I think they're filming next week. So I hope to hear from him by then. And yeah, I hope to be able to share sooner than later. I also have to shoot some fancy pictures aside from that secret project. I also have to shoot my fancy pictures for Warbird, which I'm excited to do. She's fun to pose. So minus that one shoulder that has the pauldron on it, the shoulder pad on it, that really limits the articulation, but otherwise I really love how she turned out. All right, I think I'm good with this. I think I'm mostly happy here. Actually, I don't think I realized how much that sideburn doesn't really blend. Both of these sideburns don't really blend, actually. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put that stoic head down and pick up this screaming head here. And ooh, this is probably not going to work very nicely. We might end up calling it a night here, guys, as much as I want to do these flyaway hairs. I don't know if this green stuff is up for it. It's starting to really stiffen up on me. I'll try a couple and see how they look. As reference, I have a picture in front of me of a figure that, what's his name? D21? No, is that his name? I would love to give credit appropriately. Yeah, D2 or D21 or D2 Customs. He did an AoA Banshee that I'm kind of looking at as a reference, and his hair is looking pretty good. So it's got some good flyaways. I want them to be a little bit thinner, though. I don't want them to be such big chunks. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so I usually make my lines on the hair pieces before I put them on. Okay. The nice thing about it, if I can get it to work at this stage in the epoxy, in the sculpt, the nice part is that I can kind of handle it without putting fingerprints on it because it's so stiff at this point that it gives me, there's some flexibility. Like I can handle it without ruining it, basically. Ooh, I'll do that. So I kind of put it on where I want it, and and then I kind of press it into place while adding more lines to go into the roots. Right. Nick says, I'm telling you, dude, watching and working on this stuff is crazy therapeutic. I definitely agree with you there. I also find it very therapeutic to work on customs and watch it as well. But I won't lie, I don't watch as many custom streams as I would like to. I wish I had more time. You know, I kind of dedicate as much time as I can during a week. It's a little bit different when like my wife goes away or something, because like I kind of have more time to be able to pop in and out on things. But you know, I slowly add things to my list of stuff I want to watch as they become available. But you know, every week it's like, you know, the ones that I pretty much don't miss, like, you know, I don't miss the Toy Migos. Even if I'm not present, I always watch the replay. Toying Around is another one who like I really like his content. So like, you know, I'm very rarely am I, you know, and like, but I will say that both of those guys, you know, the content, like what they're actually talking about is not really what is that interesting to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love to talk toys. But it's the dynamic of the people involved that really get me. I just love them. They're all so funny. I tried actually for the first time, Marcus. I watched Friday night replay of Wade's show. Wade Unparalleled Universe. I've followed Wade for a long time, but I've never really gotten too into his live streams. I watch a lot of his reviews and stuff. But yeah, I watched my first live stream. It was a replay, and I was laughing pretty good. That guy's pretty fucking funny. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to find time to make that a regular one as well, but I don't know. You know, right now my regulars are, like I said, Toying Around, Toy Migos, and Figure Booth are really where I constantly am finding myself. I also quite enjoy Matchu Toy and J-Shot Between Two Sentinels. They make me laugh a lot too. The dynamic's really funny, and I find J-Shot, I know I said this last week and he posted it on his story, but I find him very entertaining. They both make me, their dynamic makes me laugh, and and I said it last week and I stand by my statement. J-Shot reminds me of a WWE wrestler. Like, it's just like his, you know, he gets so into what he's talking about, and it's just like, it fucking makes me laugh, man. It's really funny. It's cool. I love it. He's a nice guy too. We've been chatting a bit more as of late. And yeah, super fucking nice guy. So if you're not following those guys too, I recommend it. They're more focused on like toy photography, which is also something else I've been getting more into lately. Not so much at a level that those guys do it. They are like committed. I'm not there. Nor I don't think I'll ever be that committed to toy photography. It's like I said to Nate last week from the Figure Booth when they were on. You know, for me, I enjoy the time. Like, I give myself X amount of time to work on a action figure photography project, and I do the best I can with that time. Like, even if I'm not satisfied with it, I still roll with it because I need a thumbnail. So like, you know, I end up doing what I need to do to get by. Even if I'm not fully satisfied with the results, I end up still utilizing it. So the problem with this green stuff is as it hardens, the edges are a lot harder to blend in naturally. They don't want to work like they were when they were softer. So you can see right now I'm trying to do these kind of flyaway crazies. I'm not sure that I like it, but yeah, we're gonna just keep rolling with it. And if I don't like it, I'll just peel it off. That's the good thing about when I do these individual strands is they kind of just peel right off. You don't like it. Collector Express says customizing is a very therapeutic hobby. Definitely agree. I love getting super baked, and customizing is my favorite. Marcus says Tuesday Career Antics are some of my favorites. Wade's last Sunday comic stream on the Mr. Miracle comic by Tom King made me want to make a Mr. Miracle figure. I have the figure parts planned out, not entirely committed to making it. That's pretty cool. So what is his Sunday one? What does that consist of? Does he do? Is he talks? Yeah, he talks about a comic book. Is it a different comic every week, or I see a hair, like an actual hair, sticking out of my hair sculpt. Just a little piece. I think it might be like a dog hair or something, but yeah. So the Friday nights are kind of more chill, right? Tuesday's kind of his main one, I think, right? Collector Express says, I reached out to Ramen Toy and they're going to be on the channel after the Chinese New Year. That's pretty cool. They do what? Remind me. Do they? I'm not familiar. I recognize the name, but I can't recall what they do, who they make, or what they make, or what brands they cover. But that's dope, man. I love it. I have the guest I think I'm most excited for coming up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for all my guests. They all bring something unique to the table. But I think the one I'm really excited for, Life with Brock to come on so we can do This Week in Customs. That is February 15th. That's the 2 weeks from next week. So it's next week I'm off. The week following, I got the A&R boys. And the week after that is Brock. And I think I had mentioned this on the stream. Unfortunately, due to our time zone differences and Brock's super early work schedule, we might actually not be able to do that one live, which is a huge bummer. And if we do, it's going to need to be significantly earlier. Like it might even need to be as early as like 6:30 p.m. or PST. So bear in mind, guys, that there is a chance that that show will be either stupid early, or I will do it as a pre-record and I will arrange to have a premiere at 9 p.m. my normal time, and then I'll be in the chat to kind of chat with everybody. But yeah, unfortunately, just with Brock's schedule, and I know he would rather do it. Like he said to me, he's like, if we can do it live, I'd rather do it live. But he's like, let's just see what my schedule is like. That's the thing, is like, it's a Wednesday night, so it's middle of the week. And I realize that people have jobs and lives and families. So it's not always realistic to assume that people can just drop everything so they can be on WIP Wednesday live. You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll have to see, but I know he really wants to do it live. I really want to do it live. I feel like you guys in the chat really add a lot to the live stream, in my opinion. I feel like the live stream without the chat would be kind of boring. Even if we're covering good content, like a big part of what drives conversation is you guys. So, if I can do it live, I'd really rather do it live. So we're still having to discuss it. We'll figure it out, and we'll keep you guys in the loop, but it just might be significantly earlier. That's all. So might have to compete with Matchu and Fallen Fett for a change. So, oh, it's them. Okay, I know what you're talking about. They're making third-party masks, Centurions, Modu stuff. They're making a Hell Charger with 4 different variations as different movie chargers. That's cool, man. Good score on that one. Have to keep an eye out for that. I'm always it's always interesting to see the different types of guests. That's one of the things I really love about Toying Around streams, is I feel like he's really good at his variety in guests. It's not always, sometimes it's like a toy collector that's like someone you wouldn't expect. Like he had, I can't remember his name, but he had that guy from Ozark on one time. He's an actor on Ozark, and I won't remember his name because I don't know him, but He was on one night, and like it was so fucking good. It was such a good episode, and I actually messaged him like, dude, that was an amazing episode. Like, so fucking good. Okay. I think some of this hair might be a bit too crazy, but I'm going to let it go. I'm going to just see how it looks. At this point, if I take it off, I'm not going to be able to put anything else back on. This stuff's not being user friendly at the moment, so it's too dry at this point. So I'll let it dry. I'll throw a bit of paint on it and just see how I'm liking it. And if I like it, I'll leave it. If not, I'll just peel it off. It should just come right off. It's not on there that great, so I don't really have to worry too much about it. But I'm glad I have this picture in front of me of D21 or D20's AoA, because it's giving me a lot of insight into how to approach it. His looks really good. His is more messy right through. It's not like smooth on the back, which I kind of like. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep going for a little bit more. I got maybe like 10 minutes in me or something still. Then I gotta go for my walk and come back and get to clear coating this commission piece here before I get to bed. I'd love to get to bed at a normal time tonight, but to be honest with you, I don't really see it happening, which is a bummer because I am fucking tired. This will probably be the last time I do a commission that has such a tight deadline. The only reason I took it was because it's a good opportunity to, again, get my name out. But yeah, I am exhausted from this week. Staying up late every night trying to get this thing finished so I can send it off this weekend. Thankfully, I got to buy a few extra days because even though they're not shooting it here, what it's used for, the director lives in Vancouver, so I get to meet with them, hand this thing off, not this thing, but that figure off, and be done with it finally. Actually, let's do something like this. I have to be mindful that I don't go too far onto the forehead like I did with Quicksilver. If you guys remember the AoA Quicksilver I did, I basically eliminated his forehead. And I don't want to do that this time. So what I'm done here tonight, I'll probably just trim that forehead extras off. That way on the next round when I build on top of it, it's not so in his eyes. Because even right now, it's getting dangerously close to his brows, which I'm not about. Actually, I think I'm going to fix that right away because I don't want to get to that point. Like, this is realistically where it needs to stop, right here. Oh, bye. Just because there's still going to be another smaller layer that goes in front of it. So I need to make sure that there's room for that still. Just some smaller bits of hair. Okay. There we go. Well, like I said, we're going to just leave it for tonight. If I don't like it tomorrow, I'll take it off. Because it is pretty extreme. Okay. There we go. Just do my sculpt into that. All right, guys. I think I'm going to do this is going to be my last strand, I think. Even this, it's not really. You know what? I think we're just going to call it a night. I'm getting frustrated and I don't really like how it's looking, so I don't want to continue. I'm just going to clean up that back. I kind of put my fingers in a few spots back here on the bottom. Just want to clean it up. So this is where I'm leaving off with Banshee. Come on, focus. There we go. There we go. All right. So there you have it. Marcus says, last time I did hair on the K-pop star figure, I almost gave him a big old forehead by accident. My problem is I usually fill the forehead, which is the problem. At least when you have too much forehead, you can fix it. So, but thank you. Okay, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up here. So once more, if you guys haven't, please give me a like on this video. If you're watching on the replay, please drop a comment. Sometimes you have to yell at the cameras to focus. It's funny. Yeah, drop a comment if you're watching on the replay. Let me know you're watching on the replay. But thank you guys all for taking the time to join me. Really appreciate it. It's never expected, but always appreciated. So thank you all very much. Thanks to all the regulars who stop by and say hello. Always appreciate you guys. And keep on fucking rocking it, man. Those of you guys who are customizing, keep on customizing. And we will see you in a couple weeks. Like I said, no show next Wednesday. We'll be back February 8th with my friends Dee and Chris from the A&R Astonishing News and Reviews team. Swing by and say hello. But until then, keep it real, friends. Hope you guys all have a wonderful night and a great couple weeks. We'll see ya.